we might be on the cusp of the end of an era in Columbus. The Crew are moving mad this offseason, so that means we had to get a reaction video up on the channel for our MLS faithful. I couldn't think of anybody better than Ty Fisher from Massive Report here today to discuss two huge moves and what it means for Crew fans in the upcoming 2025 MLS season. All right. First and foremost, guys, if you don't know who Ty is, all of his information is going to be down below. Go check him out. Massive Report covering all things Columbus Crew. We'll give him another shout at the end of this video. But Ty, man, first off, it's been a little while, brother. Welcome in. How are you?
Yeah, man, it's been good. It's been busy off season for me, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Cannot complain. It has been. I mean, MLS has, I don't know. It's in a weird way, Messi mania is kind of dying off, and like there's just this all this noise around so many other players, stories, transfers all around the upcoming 2025 season. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. I can't wait for the season to get here. We're nearly there, finally.
Yeah.
The off season's been too long, man. It's been too long.
Yeah.
But look, man, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's jump in. The big news, right? The headline. I mean, I feel like we're seeing all kinds of videos on the timeline now of Cucho landing in Betis, right? There in Seville in Spain, already linking up with Anthony for the promo videos, the marketing. I'm just kind of curious, man. How does it feel from your side? And maybe we'll start a little bit prior to the signing actually happening, when the rumors were swirling. How did that really feel as a diehard Crew fan?
I mean, you look at what happened a couple years ago with Lucas Zelarayan, right? The day we played Club America in the Leagues Cup, it was just like, no, we had no idea that was happening. I've heard in the past, Cucho wanted to be here. He wanted to stay. He wanted to be the captain of this team. And then you hear talks about teams from South America, Mexico, and $25 million. Like, that's okay, but they turned it down. All right, cool, we're good. And then Betis comes along, and it's like, that is the one that gets us for 16 million. But on one side it makes sense, right? Because the World Cup is around the corner. The couple of times he got called up to Colombia's national team, he played little minutes or no minutes at all. And it makes sense, right? If you wanna be on that World Cup team, you want to play in a big league where you're playing top 10 teams, top 5 teams, Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico. You want to be in those leagues where the talent really is. He was the face of the Columbus Crew, obviously, and it was just one of those things where it was like, I can't believe we're doing this again. We're going through this again. But we saw with Zelarayan leaving that, Tim Bezbachenko, when he was here, we had reinforcements. It was Diego Rossi. So me personally, I believe that the Crew will sign a couple players before the season starts.
Sure.
Wilfried Nancy did say that they are looking to sign people. But as a fan, it's like, I have no idea what to expect now. The season just changed.
Yeah, in a big way, right? And then, I think, we talked about, right, the rumblings. And I think the point you made there regarding the price tag, right?
Yeah.
I think, did that feel, I mean, look, there's so many mixed reactions on this. I agree with you. I think the World Cup coming, again, you can kind of feel that Cucho wants to be able to say he's going to have a prominent spot with his national team for that.
Yeah.
I agree. Looking at other spots abroad, right? I think most even U.S. men's national team fans would favor this type of move if it was an American player, right?
Yeah.
So you do want to see some of this. And again, it also does look on MLS to be shipping talent to La Liga. I don't disagree with that at all. But the 16 million part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, considering what was spent on him to bring him to Major League Soccer, did that feel off? Like, how unsettled with that price tag are Crew fans right now?
Yeah. I think with Crew fans, it's like he proved his worth, right? Coming from Watford, where he went on multiple loans during his time there, he was able to, make an immediate impact in that match against the Chicago Fire, July 9th of 2022. Coming on, scoring the game-winning goal, getting a yellow card, obviously. But throughout these 2.5 years with the Crew, he proved his worth. I mean, it was like, all right, we have, the next face of the league on our team. if and when Messi would go back to Barcelona and, leave MLS. But that 16 million was like, what in the world is happening?
Mm-hmm.
On the business side of things, it's like, okay, maybe that is the reasonable offer that, Cucho wanted, the club wanted. But it's like, did we get fleeced out of like a crap ton more money? Me personally, I think we did, because I mean, I would value him as like that 20 million price tag, because he has the worth. He's shown his talent. He is one of these, up and rising stars starting to hit his prime. But 16 million was just like, oh, this is not the deal I was looking for. But on the business side of things, it might have been the right time and the right offer that Cucho wanted, that the club wanted, and without, kind of breaking the budget, going after all these flashy players, maybe there is somebody within the range that of the 60 million that we got for Cucho, that Issa Tall is looking to bring in one or two players to make this impact that Cucho has left vacant.
Yeah, it's a big impact, right? Big shoes
Yeah.
to fill. Nobody can argue that. I think, arguably, right? Even if you are putting him in the same circle as Messi, right? Like, we talk about the best individual talent pound for pound in Major League Soccer. Cucho's up there, right? Top 2, top 3, right? It's just a massive, massive personality and player to lose. And for 16 mil, look, I know La Liga clubs do not spend. Like, if you go look at top 5 European leagues that are spending, there are very few La Liga clubs. I think there's none in the top 20.
Yeah.
Right. So it would make sense for a La Liga club like Betis, who needs a lot of help offensively, to spend on a player like Cucho. But 16 million just felt like they got a deal, a cut rate deal, right? To bring someone in who can play in multiple positions all over that attack. So it's going to be, again, really interesting, but nonetheless, right? It's not all doom and gloom. The crew still got more than what they paid for him at the end of the day. And still have a great relationship with the player. And that's the big thing, right? If Cucho pushes for it, it'll say the club was okay with accommodating his request. And ultimately, on some level, it feels like a win-win. Now, with that said, quickly following that news, right, with Cucho leaving, was Christian Ramirez possibly also gone too, right? And now it's basically confirmed. He's all but signed the contract. And to top it off, he's sticking around in MLS. Like, that one, I'm really curious to see how you feel, because Cucho leaving the league is one thing, right? No MLS team is going to be able to hang that over you guys.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a Crew Galaxy game on sometime on the horizon. I'm not really sure. I've looked in depth at the entire schedule, but man, how are you feeling about this one? Does it feel different?
It does a little bit. You see the path that Ramirez has taken from Minnesota to Houston to LAFC to Aberdeen, then to Columbus. He's a Southern California native, so I mean, it's a homecoming for him, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure how far Carson is from Garden Grove, but it's a homecoming for him. I'm happy for him. It's also, I think, kind of a full circle type thing. You start somewhere at home, and you travel and fill out all your options, and then make your way back home. Maybe this is, however long the deal is, he could hang up the boots afterwards, but he's going to be back home with family, friends. I know when Columbus played LAFC, he had his whole family at the stadium, and when he scored, they were right there in front, and he went and celebrated with them. So being able to play in front of family again is something special to him. I know he loves his family with all his heart. But it's the thing. It's like, I'm happy with the progress. I say that he helped Columbus get through in 2023 and 2024. Class guy on and off the field. And I wish him nothing but the best. It will suck seeing him in the Galaxy uniform instead of a Crew uniform. But at the end of the day, I'm happy for what he gave to the club, and I'm excited to see what his future holds.
Yeah, I think, I can't think of a single team in Major League Soccer who wouldn't take this guy. I think impact player off the bench. And I think with the way Galaxy plays, kind of just this possession-based style with a crazy, pacey attacking front line. Yeah. Now with that hole left vacant by Joveljic, there's now someone who can come in and that, like likes of Paintsill and Gabriel Peck could just combine with. This is such a natural fit, but I can't think of, even if he wasn't going to be a starter, I can't think of a single team that wouldn't take Ramirez as an impact player coming off the bench to just change a game at any moment's notice. That's something that I was super jealous of as an FC Dallas fan myself. And, looking at what he's going to bring to the Galaxy, man, it feels like a fantastic move for them. And again, right, like seeing him stay in MLS is good for the league, regardless of how you really kind of see it as a Crew fan. I do believe that. I think it's a very positive move. But now, right, what this kind of means is we're looking at two big holes in that attack, right, for the Crew. What does that mean for 2025? Like realistically, like I know we're looking. Nancy's kind of said that, look, we're going to make some moves. There's going to be some backfill here, some replacements coming in, and regardless of what those might look like, how different will this front line be for the Crew in 2025?
Oh, it's going to be different. I mean, if you look at our front three last year, we had Rossi, Ramirez, Cucho, right? A lot of people have deemed it as the three-headed monster, three-headed dragon. You take away two, now we're with Diego Rossi. We could see Jason Rosero get more meaningful minutes as a starter. We could see Max Arson get pushed up more into the attack with DeJuan Jones filling in that spot on the wingback side, and he gets more meaningful minutes. It's going to be a definite makeshift front three. If Nancy does continue to play that 3-4-2-1 side, which I assume he will. But it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same Columbus Crew that came from behind in the 2023 Eastern Conference Final against FC Cincinnati and go on to win MLS Cup. It's not going to be the same front three that beat Inter Miami in Leagues Cup last year, en route to beating LAFC in the final for Leagues Cup last year. It's not going to be the same team that lost to the Red Bulls in the first round of the playoffs last year. So 2025 is going to be a different look for the Columbus Crew. I think, me personally, it's going to be an interesting one to see how Nancy shifts around players, but it's going to be one where it's change has to happen, right? You can't just keep them all together, because now they're just bind to one thing and you can't go anywhere. You have to stay here. We want players to challenge themselves.
Sure.
So I think with whatever we bring in is going to be a challenge for not only the players, but the team itself and the club as a whole. Can we get back to MLS Cup final? Can we get back to CONCACAF Champions Cup? Can we get back to Leagues Cup final? But yeah, it's going to be different, but I'm excited. I can't talk. I'm excited for it. There you go.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, right? And I'm wondering in my head, because again, we could speculate on who these replacements might be, but no matter what, right? This is going to be, I think, a very telling season, specifically for Wilfried Nancy, right? And I'll make the comparison, and I, kind of in some of the group DMs and close chats that I've been talking with other MLS fans. Right now, I look at what, and I'm not saying it's an indicator for what will happen with the Crew, but I look at what's happening overseas in the Premier League with Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, and how the loss of a single player, right, has created what some are calling the biggest downfall of all time. And it's led to them, right, in the January market, spending like crazy to try and solve this issue, where I think that kind of, and maybe it's a hot take, I don't know, I think it somewhat diminishes Pep's, not his legacy, right, but kind of what he stands for in this world of football and this world of managerial class, right? Like, he's kind of always been known as the greatest tactician on earth, but he hasn't been able to figure out losing Rodri and what that's kind of meant for his team. And now I almost ask myself the same question of Wilfried Nancy, right? Like, what is that going to be? What does that look like? Is he going to be able to come in and move the pieces around while losing two of his three best attackers to make the Crew work in 2025?
I think, I say this. You look at what he did with Montreal, right, in 2021 and 2022, third place in the East, second place in the East, respectively. I mean, he did a lot with less in Montreal than he has so far here in Columbus, right?
Yeah.
So I think if I was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to. I was talking to the Designated Players podcast a couple of days ago. The way Wilfried Nancy works is like watching a grandmaster at chess, play a game, play a match of chess, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has so many different nuances that he instills in players. He wants the best for players, but he gets the best out of these guys because nobody knew who Max Arfson was coming out of the MLS Super Draft from San Jose Earthquakes 2 until Yao Yaboa gets hurt and Max Arfson comes in and starts making a name for himself. 4 goals, 2 assists, I think it was last year. His stats were. But nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who Yao Yaboa was coming into 2023 until he scored that game-winning goal against LAFC. Yevhen Cheberko, defender from Ukraine. Nobody knew who he was. Now he's a constant starter. You have all of these guys that you would say, oh, he's not going to do much for Columbus. He's not going to do anything, And now it's like our back three is probably one of the most stellar back threes in the league. Max Arfson is a stellar wingback. Cucho, he did improved his performance from 2022 to 23 to 24. Ramirez improved his performance from 23 to 24. He's getting all of the best from these guys, and it's just pushing these guys more and more each day in practice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a masterclass is needed, but I would say more so of a understanding. If how can we get back to how we were in 23 without the likes of Cucho, without the likes of Ramirez, with new players coming in possibly in this window? Can we still have a good core, and get back to winning ways? Because we've won 2 trophies under Nancy in these last 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it may not be a masterclass, right? I think he probably, regardless of who you guys end up signing to bring in, he'll probably have a strong idea for what he wants to be doing. And again, maybe this just allows us to see a different approach from Nancy, right? I mean, we all saw game over game, his adjustments, his in-game adjustments as well were sublime. Just it felt like something that MLS almost didn't even deserve, right? Like again, clearly the best manager in the league. And so when you think about how he responds to this situation, I think it's going to be very key to see how he tries to maybe build the attack around Rossi. That could be a solution. There could be, again, who knows, another big DP that's coming. I'm kind of curious from your side on that front. Have we heard any names, right? Like, are there any sort of big transfer rumors out there that Crew faithful will really kind of be hoping for coming into 2025?
Well, I know one thing. Me and a couple of people have said that Eastall has the most has the most big opportunity to make a huge laugh at the league and sign Luciano Acosta from that.
Oh my God.
I haven't heard anything, honestly. I know a lot of Crew fans want Evander from Portland. I don't know. Portland is also trying to work with him and his agency to get a contract thing. I know Acosta wants to go back to Argentina, and links of him to Estudiantes are there. I don't know how strong those are, but I haven't heard any big names. It'd be interesting to see if he does stay in MLS to bring in a DP, or if he wants to bring in somebody from overseas. I know a lot of transfer windows have closed right now.
Sure.
But if it is somebody in the league, I know a lot of fans want Evander. He had done wonders with Portland Timbers last year. I think he was like 3rd or 4th in the MVP MVP race, but he's a solid pickup. And like I said, Eastall has the most funniest opportunity to sign Acosta from Cincinnati, if that was a thing. But it's one of those things where it's like, we don't know, because Eastall and Nancy, they're very quiet when it comes to signing players, because they don't want players who can just fill the void. They want players who they think can fit well into this specific system, this specific style of possession that Wilfried Nancy plays, and will make an impact. They just don't want to go out and just spend money where it's not needed.
Yeah, I think that's very key, right? Like when you see a big exodus like this, there will be pressure from the supporters, from the fans to quickly backfill, right? Get the excitement rolling for the season. And I think that too often, right? Not just in Major League Soccer, but really everywhere, that kind of pressure leads to miscalculations. It leads to overspending. And before you know it, right? Even with some of the new shifts in the rules, you've you dug yourself a financial hole with players that just probably weren't the best fit, right? That if you took your time, you would have done things a little bit differently. And by the way, man, Luciano Acosta, if he were to come, especially after I was at All-Star in Columbus this past year and heard all the boos for Acosta when he came onto the field, bro, I can't even imagine what that would look like. It would honestly, it would break the internet. Like I can't even imagine Acosta rolling out there in his new Columbus kit and his colors, and the fans just having to accept their new number 10. It would be, it would definitely, like I said, break the internet.
But you know what the funny thing is, though, is that I bet Crew fans would be like, he's actually a really good player. Yeah, we're going to back him now and whatnot. Yeah,
I take back everything I said. Yeah, 100%. Go to the timeline, start deleting posts. Like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm not a hater anymore. Yeah, man, that'd actually be kind of crazy. I semi hope for it. I also semi hope it doesn't happen because I'm kind of hoping that that maybe Dallas gives him a look, but I don't know. We'll see. Either way, Acosta coming to Columbus would be insane. Before we wrap up, man, just kind of curious. I do want to get your take on the coming season. Whether you guys sign players or not, how do you feel after coming off of the exit you had right to the Red Bulls last season, or lose Cucho, lose Christian Ramirez? What's the prediction, right? And again, it could be a hot take or not, but how do you feel Columbus finishes in that Eastern Conference table?
Well, I will say my prediction has changed drastically. Because I was saying we're going to finish probably second in the East, no lower than fourth, right?
Yep.
I think if we bring somebody in, I'd probably say we're still probably top 4, right? Probably no lower than 6th in the league, because you have these voids that you have to fill, but it's more so, can we get somebody to replicate a Cucho Hernandez performance with 19 goals and however many assists that he had?
I think it was 14 assists. Yeah, crazy.
Okay. Can we bring in somebody that can replicate 19 goals and 14 assists right off the bat in their first year? No, it's going to take time. But I'd probably say third or fourth, no lower than 6th, in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, the goals just have to be there. The goal contributions really, right, just have to be there. They don't necessarily have to come from any one player who's trying to maybe backfill Cucho's shoes, right? So I for that reason, I don't expect like fans to just pile on the pressure on Rossi and be like, all right, you're our new Cucho now. Go out there and grab 20 goals and 10 assists or whatever it may be. But I think at the same time, if there's a pathway to that, Nancy probably will figure it out. Maybe set pieces become ever more important. Maybe again, right, just who you guys add is able to contribute in a much more even fashion across that whole front line, so that everyone's kind of feasting and you guys are able to kind of find that way back into top 4.
I will say one thing really quick. The one thing I am probably going to miss about Cucho is I've never seen a number 9 drop so far back into like their defensive third, collect the ball, and then just send it out wide to the wing to Mohamed Farsi, to Arsene or whatnot. Because that's one thing that Cucho did that was very, very well to spring a counterattack. Is he drops in front of the back 3 with the midfield, collects a ball, turns, and then just sends it wide. That's one thing I am going to miss. But it's one thing that's like, okay, now how can we, as you said, get even performance out of whoever we bring in to kind of, maybe fill that void, but do it in their own style. Because when Rossi came in, everybody was like, oh, he's no Lucas Zelarayan. You can't replicate Lucas Zelarayan techniques with Diego Rossi. They're both 2 different players with 2 different styles of play. And Rossi has fit in really well with his style of play. So it's one of those things, again, how can we get somebody with their own style of play to replicate Cucho's style of play, but in their own way?
Yeah, it's gonna be key, man. And you're right. He did. I mean, it wasn't even just dropping in so deep. Sometimes, like again, he would find himself floating out wide. He's able to get the ball, and then again, the link up between him and someone like Christian Ramirez, right? Him finding Christian in the box and getting a header off, or like whatever the case may be. I think those are maybe some of the more intangibles, right? Someone who can free float throughout the midfield and into the attacking third. That just, again, isn't scared to occupy multiple positions. Even if they don't replicate Cucho's numbers, I'm willing to bet that that's what Wilfried Nancy is asking for, right? Someone who has that kind of confidence in their game and their ability. So We'll find out, man. But I actually agree with you. I don't think that this just plummets the Crew. I think that
No.
they're a top 4, top 6 team. And I think no matter what, the whole team collectively, manager included, is so experienced that really all you guys have to do is get in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I think last season, there's so many games in the calendar. There was so much you guys were fighting for on the back of trying to retain your title that I think that, again, it's almost too much to ask for. And we saw kind of the ups and downs of juggling a very congested schedule. And what that kind of did going into a postseason where everyone, I think, just kind of looked a little tired, right?
Yeah.
That's really kind of what it was. So fully expecting the Crew to really kind of bounce back in 2025, even with these departures. But we'll definitely see, man. Before I let you go, Ty, first off, I appreciate it, bro. This was a great reaction to this this news. Again, I'm sure you've had some time to think about it now, so maybe you're a little more upbeat. But
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, before we wrap up, man, anything you want to drop in terms of a plug for the Massive Report or anything else, by all means, man, feel free.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter or X at FisherTyler__. I am also over on Blue Sky, tyfisher.bluesky.com. If you guys like to read, you guys can find myself on Massive Report. And also, I'm the host of the Wise Men Say podcast, a Columbus soccer podcast. We go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wise Men Say podcast on YouTube. And you can find us on wherever you get podcasts, including Goals TV.
Yes, sir.
And it'll be a good season.
Hell yeah. I'm excited, man. And again, like you heard him, ladies and gentlemen, on Goals TV as well. But Ty, look, man, I really appreciate it. Again, we may have something else down the pathway before the season gets here, depending on what happens with Columbus in this market. Options are limited, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. So again, Ty, I really appreciate it, guys. If you haven't done so already, head to the description notes down below. Go check out Ty. Go check out the Massive Report, the Wise Men Say podcast, everything Columbus soccer and Columbus Crew right down there for you. If you haven't done so already and you did enjoy the video, like down below, subscribe to Goals TV, and most importantly, just let us know how MLS fans, how you guys are feeling in the comments regarding Cucho's departure. It is one that I do think separates the fan base a little bit for one reason or another. So let us know, sound off down below, and we'll catch you guys next time here on Goals TV. All right, from everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name's Jose. That's Ty. We'll catch you guys next time.